Hey guys, what's going on? Your good buddy Sam here, and I've got some good news as part of this particular Max MSP tutorial. So the good news may not immediately sound like good news, or it may sound like good news only if you happen to be really into Max. But I guess it is. You wouldn't be watching this video if you weren't really into Max, so maybe it is good news for you too. But that good news is that it turns out I've discovered recently that this object, jit.qt.movie, which you usually use to play files from your computer, it can actually also read videos directly from a URL. So you pointed at any video on the internet, and you can actually load it right away into jit.qt.movie and play it. Doesn't that sound like really good news? It doesn't actually work with videos like YouTube videos without a little bit of messing around, and it can't stream videos, but it's perfect for using with a web service like, for example, Vine, that fun web service that grabs, I don't know, that lets you upload 3 to 4 second videos that are usually pretty goofy. So what we're going to do is make an automatic Vine video downloader and player inside of Max. So the first thing to know about doing this is that Vine actually has this what's called an API, an application programming interface, and what that means is that you can get data from Vine by sending it specific requests. And what you'll get back is data that's formatted in a way that makes it really easy to use inside of, in this case, Max, but really any application. There's lots of cool APIs that are coming out, or that exist, I guess, for working with. And Vine, I don't know that Vine's API is actually documented. This might be a secret API. No, API, the one and only public documentation of Vine app 1.0.3. Well, I don't know. Anyway, maybe it's secret, maybe it's not. But the basic idea is if you send a GET request for this URL, api.vineapp.com/timeline/popular, this will return a big block of text that is all the videos that are currently popular on Vine at the moment. And while this big block of text is really hard for human beings like you and I to understand, it's really, really easy to work with inside of Max because it's actually JSON, which is just stands for JavaScript Object Notation, and it's a way of defining data in a way that's really, really easy to work with. So here's how we're going to grab that data. First, make a patch and save it somewhere. I'm going to save mine on the desktop in a folder called MaxVine. And I'm going to save this patch as MaxVine as well. And the reason I want to save this in a folder is because this patch needs to talk to a JavaScript file that's going to define how we're grabbing this data and working with it. And that file needs to be in the same folder as the patch. It actually doesn't have to be, but if you don't want to mess around with the Max search path, then this is just one easy way to do it. So I'm also going to make an object called JS maxvine.js. And if I open this up and save this, I'm just saving this file, maxvine.js, here in that same maxvine folder. So we're actually going to start totally in JavaScript, which may be terrifying or exciting for you, depending. But all we really need to do is make a JavaScript object that will respond to a GET request by going out and asking Vine for the video data and then giving it back to us in Max. So the way to do that is to start with a function. If you make a JavaScript, in JavaScript, for JavaScript Max objects, the name of the function is the name of the message that you'll pass to Max. So we'll name our function get and give it the argument URL, so that if in Max we send JavaScript a message that looks like this, get, and then this URL, get, this will call in JavaScript the function get with this argument, https blah, 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 stored in this value URL. So the first thing that we need to do is make what's called an XML HTTP request. This is just a wrapper for the request from Max to Vine to get that all that JSON data. So I'm going to do var, which is for declaring a variable, ajax rec equals new XML new XML HTTP request. I think it's called an XML HTTP request. Is that right? Let's ask the internet really quickly. Yes, nailed it. Okay. So first things first, ajax rec.open get URL. So this tells that AJAX request to look for to go to this URL with the with the GET protocol. There are a few different protocols: GET, PUSH, POST. I think are a couple. These are just different HTTP. I don't know if protocol is even the right word, but I wouldn't worry too much about it. Just GET defines how exactly AJAX request is accessing this URL. Then we'll do AJAX rec dot on ready state change equals ready state change. What this does is tell the AJAX request what function to call when the ready state changes, which is another way of saying once the request comes back, what function should you call with the data. And then finally AJAX rec.send actually sends the request. Now we need another function here, and this is going to be the function called ready state change. And this will be the function that AJAX request calls as soon as the result comes back. What we're going to do is first store the what comes back in a variable called raw text. And that's going to be equals this dot underscore, what is this thing called? I can't remember. Sorry, I got to look it up really quick. Tester. It's called get response key. Okay, piece of cake. So what comes back from this AJAX request is going to be a dictionary. So basically keys and values. And we're interested in the value for a specific key. So we're going to do call get response key for the key body, which contains the body of what came back to us, the body of the data that we're interested in. From that body, we're interested in extracting the actual JSON, the object that we want to work with. So we'll do var body equals json.parse parse raw text. And that will return a nice JavaScript object that we can use to actually pull out the specific thing that we want, which is the URL of the most popular video. So here's how we spit that out. We call outlet 0, which tells Max to spit whatever we're putting here, tells this JavaScript object specifically actually to spit whatever we're about to put here out of the first outlet. And into that we're going to put body.data.records 0, which gives us the first record, .video URL. And this thing, body, data, records, video URL, that comes from just looking here at the API reference, which shows us that within data there is a key called records. That records is an array, so we can look at the first one. And within that first record is this key called video URL. So out of all this, we should see when we send this get message to this JavaScript maxfind.js, actually clicking on this should grab a URL. Look at that. This is the URL of currently the most popular video on Vine. Now, the next and very simple thing to do is just pipe that through a prepend read, and this will tell JITQtMovie to read that URL. Next, we just need a QMetro 33 and a toggle so that we can turn this QtMovie on. And we should just send that to a JIT window. Look how easy this was. We're actually almost done. This might be the fastest tutorial in this entire channel. Now let's see. So let's do a couple things. Let's make a key and a cell 27. A toggle and a full screen $1. And this should, so press key, key sends a message whenever you push a key down. Key 27 is the escape key, so this will toggle full screen on and off for that window. And now, I think if we turn on this metronome and click on this button, we should get some silly videos. Look at that. Alright, let's get a new video.
Nigga, nigga, bitch, nigga, nigga.
I absolutely do not. The opinions expressed in this 5-second clip are not the opinions. Maybe this is a really dangerous thing to do. No, stop, for God's sake. Please stop playing this video. Oh, thank God. Oh, I feel like we've gone from hell to hell. Yeah, that's basically how I feel. I like his shirt though, that's kind of awesome. It may be worth mentioning that you can send jit.qt movie the message vol0 to turn off the volume, thank God. Last thing I might augment this patch with would be, let's actually do a toggle volume $1 so we can turn volume on and off, preferably off. Last thing that might be cool to do, you can actually do a key cell 32 here. 32 is the spacebar, so that we can trigger a video automatically by pushing spacebar. So let's go full screen, push space. Nice, that's a great meaningless video. What's next?
Let's go, 360 no scope.
Nope, I didn't see that. That's crazy. Okay, well, anyway, so now there you have it, the ultimate instant silly video generator written entirely in Max using the Vine API and a little bit of JavaScript. I mean, think about how cool you are if you actually write this patch. This combines Max knowledge, JavaScript, munging Vine API. You have social media savvy, computer programming skills, and a winning, if somewhat juvenile, sense of humor if you're able to pull this patch off. So thanks for watching, and take it easy. I'll see you in the next one.